All right, well, on today's debate is going to be an inverse DC. Larfleeze versus Sinestro. We'll pretty much be using the current versions of both of them. Alistair will be representing Larfleeze, and I'll be representing Sinestro. So, Alistair, you can start out with your AP scaling.
Alrighty then. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna scale Larfleeze to multi plus to outer.
Okay.
So for the multi plus scaling, I'm just going to say that Larfleeze scales to people like Hal Jordan being able to fight Flash, I think Wally West Flash, and that, and well, he was able to fight Parallax and Flash and still like kind of keep up with him. And Parallax, and since Parallax is the like concept of fear, he would probably naturally give Flash an amp. And in a race between Wally and Barry, both of them were like, their battle was like tearing through the fabric of space-time. So that's the multi-plus scaling. And then let me just post that, and then I'm going to get into outer.
All right, so like one thing I'd like to ask is like you said like they were like tearing like the fabric of like space and time, right?
Like it was like tearing through the fabric of the multiverse.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Alistair posted a zone 1.
I know.
Okay.
All right. So that's the multi-plus bare minimum stuff.
All right. Yeah, hold on. So, okay. So like the first two skins show like, like Larfleeze is like relative to Hal Jordan, right?
Yeah, he's able to like take attacks from him,
Okay.
break out of his constructs.
All right, yeah, that's fine. And like the next three are like Hal fighting against like Parallax Slash. So I guess that's fine. Okay. So you said this was multi plus, right?
Yeah, because in the scan right under, like the Parallax is fear and fear is nothing thing. It's the race between Barry and Wally, and Cyborg states like the energy they're generating is playing havoc with the very fabric of the multiverse.
Okay, so let me know if I'm wrong, but you also said you had outer scaling.
Right.
Okay, so like for now, are you just gonna like scale into like multi plus and then like upscale into like outer if you need to?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so yeah, I'll grant that Larfleeze is multi plus. So I'm just gonna scale Sinestro to like high outer, and I'll explain why. So pretty much like Sinestro was able to like fight against like White Lantern Kyle Rayner, and like we saw like White Lantern Kyle Rayner was able to like fight against like I forgot what this like dude's name was, but, like he was like fighting against this dude, and like it was like stated that it was like threatening like creation, and during this time Kyle Rayner also had the power of the life equation, and then he like absorbed like that same dude like into him, so like he like would scale to the source, and I'll like get like the scans for that. Hold on. Oh, and I'd also like to add that like in this battle, like Sinestro was pretty much like overpowering him to the point like he managed to get like Kyle's like ring off him because like he was like overpowering him by that much. So like post those first and like do you need to like scale like the source or like the life equation, or do you already agree that they're high outer?
I agree that the source and the life equation is like high outer.
Okay, so
I'm
like
just wondering, like, personally, I'm just wondering, like, in this, like, this is Sinestro with the Green Lantern, right?
yeah,
Like, that's, like, correct me
yeah.
if I'm wrong here, but, like, current Sinestro doesn't have the green ring. He's still,
Well,
like,
okay,
yellow ring. He's, like, and he has,
yeah.
like, parallax.
Yeah, I know. It's like with the thing with like the whole Green Lantern ring thing, I'm using this to like scale off Yellow Lantern Sinestro because like Sinestro, like he prefers the Yellow Lantern ring over like the Green Lantern ring. Do you agree with that?
Um,
Because like he's pretty much like the leader of his own corps. So like would you agree that like you would prefer the Yellow Lantern over like the Green Lantern?
yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so like if he so if we say that like Sinestro prefers the Yellow Lantern ring over the Green Lantern ring, that pretty much heavily implies that Sinestro would be much better with the Yellow Lantern ring, therefore making him stronger. And like um it's like Green Lantern Sinestro should like at the very best be like equal to like Yellow Lantern Sinestro. He's like likely like a little like below, but like Sinestro, and like another reason why like Yellow Lantern Sinestro will like scale above Green Lantern Sinestro because it's shown that like Sinestro can literally just create like a lot of like uh Green Lantern rings, but he never does it because he doesn't like the Lantern ring, and I can even like show a scan of that.
I've seen this. I've seen that again.
Yeah,
But something I will like question at least, like just because Sinestro prefers having like the Yellow Lantern ring uh over having the green, like why would that inherently mean that he's like stronger with the Yellow Lantern ring? He could just like how the
because
power feels. He could just
because
like he could just have like sentimental attachment to it because, like you say, he's the leader of his own corps, and he was the leader of his own corps for a long time. He just had the Green Lantern ring for a little bit. Like
okay, I
it
say
could
that
just be personal preference.
I say that because the thing is that if Sinestro prefers the Yellow Lantern ring over the Green Lantern ring, that heavily implies that he would be stronger with the Yellow Lantern ring. And like this
Like
was like in like the same comic that like he fought against like White Lantern Kyle Rayner. That was like when he literally like put on like the Green Lantern ring in like years. And like, do you need me to like show that? Because like this happened in like New 52, where like Sinestro was just mainly using the Yellow Lantern ring, and he didn't have much experience with like the Green Lantern ring because it was like so long since like he even like put on the Green Lantern ring. So like, do you need me to like show that for you?
um, mm, yeah, like I'd like to at least see that. It's
Yeah,
just
hold on.
although I will say I might end up like uh popping out in a second. Like because I have to,
Yeah, just
since
hold
the
on.
interview is actually gonna fucking happen now. So
Yeah, just hold on. I'll send the scan.
if I have, so like if I pop out, just like give me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna like send like the scans for that. It's like I managed to like get like the comic like that was from.
Like if you're gonna give me the comic, then like can you like at least give a
Yeah,
page
yeah,
number
yeah,
or
of
something?
course. Yeah, it's like yeah, so it's pretty much like the first like few pages. Yeah, so pretty much it's like that comic like not only like implies like Sinestro like put on like the Green Lantern ring after a while. It's pretty much like Sinestro just doesn't like really use the Green Lantern ring. He just like prefers the Yellow Lantern ring, which like implies that like he thinks like the Yellow Lantern ring is like better for him if he never uses the Green Lantern ring. So like I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be more powerful as a Yellow Lantern, considering he can just create all these Green Lantern rings.
Mm.
And like he's generally like stronger than like Green Lanterns as well because like we saw like he can pretty much like nearly one shot Hal Jordan, and I can even like show a scan of that.
Uh,
It's like
okay.
this is like Hal Jordan when he was like amped by like multiple Yellow Lantern rings. So like
Hold on. This is the call thing that I was like talking about earlier. So just give me a
okay.
few minutes.
Okay.
I'm really sorry for the delay.
All right, remember, just cut the long pause. We're good to go.
Wait,
Yeah.
someone wake up Slick now. He's asleep.
Slick, you better wake up or else Hal is gonna cheat on you.
Hush, I'll take care of it. Yeah, let's all calm down. Let's all mute. I'm gonna at that nigga.
He was definitely muted.
Hmm.
But actually, I can hold the note for a minute.
Alright. So we're gonna continue or what?
Yep.
Yeah, we can continue with no more.
Okay, so
Off the cherry.
back to what I was saying. I was pretty much saying like I've shown like why like the Yellow Lantern Sinestro would scale above Green Lantern Sinestro because I've explained that he pretty much like doesn't like the Green Lantern ring and just has far more experience with the Yellow Lantern ring. And pretty much even if you did want to say like Green Lantern Sinestro like would be stronger, it still wouldn't work because he's shown he can just create Green Lantern rings. So either way, like my like scaling would like still stand.
I'm wondering about like this Hal scan of him like having multiple like Yellow Lantern rings on top of this like Green Lantern ring. And this like I feel like no, it won't really matter.
Yeah, it's like he's capable of like one-shotting like Hal Jordan level opponents, which like you even said that like Larfleeze is like relative to like Hal Jordan, and he's like capable of like one-shotting characters on that level. And like okay, now that I've like explained what I explained about the whole Lantern rings, would you agree that like Yellow Lantern Sinestro would still scale to like Green Lantern Sinestro with like what I've explained and like what I've shown?
Yeah, sure. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I guess I'm just gonna I'm gonna lay my cards on the table, I guess. So Larfleeze like massively scales above Zum of all things. Like, if you don't know who Zum of all things is, he's the leader of the House of Thal's Dawn. The House of Thal's Dawn is just like this family of just like other dimensional like gods and like godly level characters. Larfleeze and Zum, he is one with the Anachna Force, which binds all of creation. So
like how strong will this be?
like if he's one with the Anachna Force, then he should be like outer to high outer, because it's Because if it binds all of creation, that would include things like, the source wall and everything.
Alright, yeah, could you just like pull scans for that?
Sure. And of course that happens. Okay, so give me a second.
Alright, hold on. Let me read
So
these.
in the top scan, you see like Zum is the dude with the really big beard, right? You got the Shifu
Yeah.
mustache and the beard
Yeah, okay.
with the red aura.
Alright, let me just like read the scans.
Is it the makeup going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
it took a short
then-
pause.
Well, it was actually a very long one.
Why?
Okay, so you're saying like Larfleeze like scales to this dude, right?
Mhm.
Okay, and he was like a threat to like creation, right? So like, could you like show him being like a threat to creation?
Like, if you read the scan, you see like he's like Zun is one with the cosmic and chakra essence that binds all of creation. Like, if he's one with that essence, then that means like he himself is off should be like on the level of that.
Okay, so you're saying like he like is like one of the people that like binds creation together, right?
Like, he's like one of, if not the person that binds all of creation, because he's
Okay,
one
hold
with
on.
the essence.
Okay, so pretty much like, would you like still agree that like Larfleeze and like Hal Jordan would still be relative? Because like by your own scaling, you've shown that they're relative.
Like in base, actually no, because I'd say the Larfleeze is like over like twice as strong as he is. Because
Okay, wait. How was he stronger?
because Larfleeze was able to like fight against how multiple lantern with the red lantern ring and the blue lantern ring, so which powered him up to like 210 point something percent.
Wait,
So
who? Like Larfleeze or Hal Jordan?
Hal Jordan was amped,
Oh, okay.
and he still was able to fight him and the entire and like the rest of the Lantern Corps.
Okay, so like, are you like talking about like that time where like Hal Jordan had like the green and blue lantern rings?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so pretty much like yeah, he had like the blue lantern ring, but like the thing is like even then Hal Jordan wasn't like quite at like full power because the thing is like he was literally using his willpower to like power the blue lantern core, so he kind of just like split his like willpower like off, and like he wasn't like 100% like focusing like his willpower, and like you saw with like your own scans, like when Hal Jordan just had the Green Lantern ring, he was like relative to like Larfleeze.
Like he
So like Hal Jordan wasn't like necessarily amped when he had the Blue Lantern ring because like he wasn't
well, I would
focusing.
say like power level is 210.5%. Like
Well, that's
that
kind
means
of
like the lantern is charged to like twice its like normal capacity. He's like that, so he should be like that much stronger.
okay. Yeah, it's charged. Okay, no, but it's charged to that level. That doesn't. Why does it necessarily mean he himself would have all that power when in like the scan I've shown it literally says that like he was like splitting his willpower off between like the Blue Lanterns and stuff because like uh it was like stated like he would like his willpower would need to like power the Blue Lantern Corps to like fight against like Larfleeze. So like Hal Jordan wasn't like at 100% like full power, and when he didn't have a Blue Lantern ring and just his Green Lantern ring, that would pretty much like there was nothing to really suggest that he would like have to like split his willpower off. And like you've shown that like Hal and Larfleeze are relative. So I would just say like Sinestro can like one shot like Hal Jordan level characters. So like regardless, I'd say like in terms of like AP, I'd still be able to one shot.
Um, all right. Well, I guess I could just like one thing I will just say like I just say like Larfleeze like also scales above like Atrocitus like massively. He like two shots him, and Atrocitus has been shown to like break out of Yellow Lantern, Sinestro's constructs. He was able to and like damage him, and Larfleeze literally two shot that man.
Okay, but like Atrocitus can be like inconsistent because like he was pretty much like getting bullied by like Guy Gardner in Rebirth. I can even show that, and like in like that like same like storyline you're referring to, Sinestro's like constructs were able to like actually like what's it called like contain him, if that's the right word. Yeah, like it's pretty much like his constructs were like capable of like pretty much holding Atrocitus, and we saw like Atrocitus pretty much got one shot by Lobo, and like Sinestro was actually capable of fighting against Lobo. I don't get that.
Is anybody still alive?
Yeah, hold on, I'm just getting one the scan. So like
No,
pretty much
I'm
this, the scan that I'm about to drop, it's like pretty much like Sinestro like fighting against like Lobo while like Atrocitus just gets one shot by him. And like I've already shown like why like the whole Atrocitus scaling wouldn't really work.
But like also isn't Lobo also like inconsistent too? Like there's times where he fights like Santa, who's like outer, and then he fight, and then he's like getting in like in another issue he's like fighting Superman. He's like beat and like and they're like comparable.
And like the thing is like in that same comic, Lobo was able to like bully Hal Jordan like in that like specific comic. So like if anything, that would just add consistency to my scaling. And like, do you want like the scans of like Lobo like bullying Hal?
Like sure, but like, that would also imply like if by your logic, like if we were talking about specifically in that issue, then in like specifically in the issue, we see Larfleeze just like we see not only Atrocitus break out of Sinestro's stuff, but he also broke out of like Hal Jordan stuff, and he's like punching through it. So,
I mean, I've already like addressed Atrocitus like breaking out of like Green Lantern and Yellow Lantern constructs. Like I've already addressed that point.
like
It's like in that like issue, Lobo was like freaking like choking like the crap out of like Hal Jordan. Like he literally like was able to like bully him. And it's like Hal Jordan's like constructs couldn't really do anything to him, while like Sinestro's was able to like pretty much beat Lobo down.
Like, again, you keep saying like in this issue, like Lobo again, like he's like if you're also gonna go off of like somebody who is like kind of inconsistent, then like what's too much of a difference between Lobo and Atrocitus in the situation?
Wait, well, how is Lobo inconsistent?
Like I said, he's like sometimes he's fighting people like sometimes he's fighting people who like say like sometimes Lobo's fighting people like Santa, who has a God Spear, which makes him like outer.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Like,
okay, wait, was that like
fighting people
like Santa though?
Superman before he's like that, like before.
Okay, the thing is like Lobo fighting Superman, that wouldn't really prove any inconsistencies because Hal Jordan and Superman have shown to be like relative to each other, and I'll even like get you that. So like, it's like it wouldn't really be like him fighting Superman is not inconsistent. If anything, it just adds more consistency because like it's shown like Hal Jordan is relative to Superman.
Yeah. All right. Well,
like the whole Santa thing, I'd like to ask, was that even like true form Santa? And even if it was, there's just far more consistency to prove that like he wouldn't be on that level.
all right.
So like I feel I pretty much like addressed everything you said. Like, do you agree with that?
Like, all right. Well, I guess I can just like try to get like characters that kind of scale off of how Jordan kind of proves that Larfleeze is like at least like a little bit above, because you see Larfleeze fights people like John Stewart being able to like one shot people like Superman. And, like he beat like the entire Justice League.
Wait, hold on. John Stewart can one shot Superman?
Like he took down like the entire Justice League, didn't he? And, like,
I mean, okay, could you like show that? Because I feel like that's a pretty big claim, like John Stewart being able to like take out like the entire JLA.
Or at least like he took out some of the top tiers. Like you can see from this.
Because like,
right.
I mean, it kind of just shows. It's like he's kind of just like tossing them around. It's like it even seems like Superman is not really even like doing anything here, because like Superman has shown that he's like relative to like Hal Jordan, who's like
and
relative to John. Okay, but the thing is like John Stewart scaling
above.
above.
Like Superman is like knocked out at this point. Like,
I mean,
it's like all the people that are on the floor like aren't fighting him. Like everybody else, you see, Flash, Kid Flash, like Flash, Aquaman, like they're knocked out. Like they.
Okay, but
like,
the thing is, the thing is that John Stewart wouldn't scale above Superman, because the thing is that John Stewart would at best be like relative to Superman. Because like the thing is like he can like fight against like Hal Jordan, like they trade blows, and like Hal Jordan trades blows with Superman, so that kind of just proves that they're all like Hal Jordan level opponents. And like Sinestro can like one shot Hal Jordan level opponents, as I've already shown. And like, do you need me to like show you like scans of like John Stewart being relative to Hal, or are you fine with that?
I'm fine with John Stewart being like relative to Hal.
Okay, and
but I will something
sorry.
else I want to bring up. I know you already addressed it, but like this is like kind of Kyle Rayner, because Kyle is like, of course you showed me the White Lantern Kyle Rayner fighting Green Lantern, but this is like Green Lantern Kyle Rayner fighting against like the same new 52 like Sinestro, and Larfleeze was able to contend with a much stronger Kyle Rayner because he was using like multiple like parts of the emotional spectrum. Like he's been using
Okay.
he's had
With the whole Kyle Rayner like scaling above Sinestro, that wouldn't really work here because I've already shown that Green Lantern Sinestro can literally fight against like White Lantern Kyle Rayner, who scales massively above Green Lantern Kyle Rayner, and he can like one-shot people like Hal Jordan, who are a little above Kyle Rayner, because Hal Jordan is stated to be the strongest of the Green Lanterns. And I'll even get you that statement.
that statement. Yep.
Yeah, there's 2 statements actually proving it. And these statements also aren't really contradicted either really. So that's 2 statements of Hal Jordan being the best of the Green Lanterns.
Okay, I have one of these statements. Alright. You know what? Alright, I'll accept that you have you accept that we're in the same tier, but you have higher AP, correct? Do you at least accept that we're in the same tier of high outer, but you just have higher AP if you scale to the character?
I mean, not really, because the thing is you haven't really consistently shown that Larfleeze is that level, and even if I stay you were that level, I can still one-shot people on that level.
Alright, if the Zum thing doesn't convince you, then I guess I can use other. Then I could also bring up the fact that John Stewart isn't confident in being able to fight Larfleeze, even though he had Kyle Rayner, White Lantern Kyle Rayner, Hal Jordan, and more, and he still is man, I do not want to fight this dude. We would need twice the amount of people just to take him on.
I know what you're talking about, but the thing is that was John saying that. Did John even know how strong Kyle Rayner was? Because John said he didn't want to fight Larfleeze, not Kyle Rayner, White Lantern.
John said he wasn't John's the fact that John, even though he had all of White Lantern, Kyle Rayner, and more, he still thought, oh god, I don't think we can do this.
Okay,
that's
so. I mean, it's yeah, he has lack of confidence, but that doesn't inherently mean Larfleeze would scale to White Lantern Kyle Rayner. And White Lantern Kyle Rayner, himself never even implied he would be below Larfleeze. That was John saying that. And that was just him saying he's not confident. It's not he's generally weaker. That's just him saying he has lack of confidence.
Well, I got one more high outer thing for
and what's that?
Larfleeze. The Guardians being stating that Larfleeze has the power as threatening as Parallax, and Parallax being and Parallax scares the hell out of the Spectre.
Okay, I agree that Parallax scales to the Spectre, but not the first part of it, because the thing is Sinestro in his base, not even without using Parallax, we pretty much bound to his soul and made Parallax his dog. That was literally just his base. And he was still able to, like, one-shot Hal Jordan. And we've already agreed that, like, Larfleeze and Hal are relative. So I would just mainly say preponderance of evidence. Like, that's what I would say to that.
Like, all right, so
Like-
we.
Frog or what?
What the fuck do you want?
Alright, so, like,
Well-
do you have anything else?
Like, I don't really have too much else. Like, I'm just like, honestly, like, I'm just gonna say, like, with Larfleeze scaling to Zum, he would still be a high outer, but you just have, like, higher AP, you'd still be able to one shot him. Like, we're still in the same tier of high outer, you're just, like, a little higher in high outer.
Okay, so do you still agree, like, I'd, like, be, like, powerful enough to, like, one-shot you in, like, terms of AP?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to do from here?
So,
You want
I guess from here, like, would speed even be a factor in this if, like, we're both, like, in the outer? Like, would speed really even be a factor?
we just both have irrelevant speed.
Okay, then, so, no. Alright. I guess we can just go into hacks, then. Since I went first in AP, you can go first in hacks.
Okay, I'm just gonna argue that, like, Sinestro, since he pretty much made Parallax his dog, he's just gonna use Parallax to possess Larfleeze. That's it. And I'll get, like, the stuff for that. And, like, there's, like, 3 statements of, like, Parallax pretty much being Sinestro's dog. And, like, you can pretty much just use him anytime. Like, whenever he wants, really. And, like, do I need to, like, show you, like, Parallax capable of, like, possessing people, or are you, like, fine with that?
I know Parallax can possess. I used a possessed person possessed by Parallax earlier. Why would I?
Yeah, I was just making sure. So, yeah, I'm just going to argue. Since he pretty much made Parallax his dog, he's going to use Parallax to possess Larfleeze.
I guess I'm just gonna argue that Larfleeze would just, like, absorb Parallax via his constructs.
Okay. With the construct. Okay, how does he, like, do this?
Like, basically, his constructs, like, start, like, basically his constructs, like, eat the, like, the constructs, like, kind of just, like, eat the, like, other, like, constructs. And it's been shown that, like, Larfleeze's constructs have been able to, like, eat constructs that are, like, not necessarily, like, just, like, regular constructs. Like, it's been, like, constructs that are stated to be, like magic. It's not just, like, just, like, a regular construct. So, like, but just... Though...
So pretty much. Okay, hold on. So, like, how would that really counter what I'm saying?
Like, him using like yeah, excuse me. Like I'm just saying that
Oh, okay. So he can pretty much like he's gonna like create an like army of like constructs.
like yeah, it's gonna create like he's gonna create the constructs, and the constructs are going to like absorb parallax, basically.
Wait, have they shown to like absorb?
Like so we stated in like the bottom part of the panel, the orange lances are absorbing our constructs, even those created by the Guardians. And,
Okay,
like,
but the thing is that they're absorbing.
the
They can absorb like okay constructs. Like yeah, he can absorb constructs, but how? Why does that mean he can absorb concepts like parallax? Like parallax is literally a concept, not a construct. It's like, well, what would constructs do against parallax?
like well, first I'm gonna ask like doesn't like so how does Sinestro like use parallax? Does he use him as like just another one of his constructs, or does he just like
No,
use it as like
no, he literally uses like parallax to help him in combat. Like it's blatantly stated that like he pretty much made parallax's dog, and he literally uses them in combat situations. Like you could see, like against Hal Jordan, he used parallax to pretty much like beat the shit out of Hal Jordan. And like this is like parallax isn't just some construct. He's literally a concept.
hmm. All right, well I'd still kind of like I guess I would say that since Larfleeze's constructs like come from like his lantern, and his lantern holds like is like kind of powered by Ophidian the Tempter. Ophidian being like conceptual himself.
Okay, I mean
Like
that's fine, but like if it's
they would also
powered,
be conceptual technically.
okay, but like that's like fine, but why would that mean? Okay, why would that still mean he can absorb concept just because his ring is like powered by a conceptual being? And like the thing I'd like to ask is like, does he even like give him all like that conceptual power? It's like, does he give him like the full extent of it?
Like it more so be like Larfleeze is kind of like forcing it out of him, because like he just kind of has Ophidian in his like lantern.
I mean, that's fine. Then I'm just gonna say that like Parallax has shown that like he scales above like other conceptual beings like the Spectre, which we've already agreed on. So like, what would that really do? And like Parallax is even like shown to like possess people who can like fuck with concepts. And like, do you need to like show that, or is that like
Yes, I would like you to show that.
okay?
You
So pretty much, as you could tell by my profile pic, Parallax possessed Superman. Okay, it's in my scan is in my profile pic. So anyway, so yeah, Parallax possessed Superman, who's shown he can pretty much like it's even like at some point stated that Superman himself is a concept. I'll get that. Okay, how long this thread is, hold on. Okay. Which scan is it? Hold on. I think it's this one. Okay. Hopefully that's the right one. Wait, did you like get the scan or not?
I got the scan.
Okay. So like for me it wasn't like loading, so like that's why I was kind of guessing if it was like the right scan. Oh, that's the wrong scan. That does okay. Yeah, it's like pretty much like Superman here felt like the embodiment like of his death, but that's not what I was quite looking for. Unless you accept that as conceptual, but hold on.
Like, can you prove that's the concept of death?
Yeah, hold on, because like my scans like load for a moment. Yeah, hold on. Okay, now they're loaded. Okay, yeah, so pretty much like this dude literally states like Superman is like the concept of like hope. And hold on. I'll like get you the scans of like that dude being like the concept of like Superman's death. Okay. There you go. It's uploading. Ugh. Okay, so yeah, those are the scans. Hello?
Reading the scan. Hmm. Uh. Uh. All right. Uh. So I'll accept those scans. I'll say that, like, yeah, he is the like concept of hope, and I guess he just like scales above the concept of death. If you
Yeah,
say.
like he pretty much like parallax scales above like other conceptual beings. So like I'm just gonna say like regardless you having conceptual power, I'd still be able to like possess you, since parallax himself is not only a concept, but he also scales above other concepts.
Hmm. Well, okay. I guess in comparison to that, I'll just argue that like I'll like that amp myself to like 1,000 times, and I'll like avoid it. And not only will I avoid it, but I'll be able to like one shot you. Uh, Second.
So like he can like use like on like power battery to like amp himself is what you're saying.
Mhm.
Alright, so pretty much it's like Sinestro can like not only like amp himself with like parallax, like I'll show that. So like hold on. So
Wasn't
pretty much he
that
can
just like the initial amp, and like he's just been like that power ever since because he like got control over Parallax?
I mean it's kind of like with like Goku, like parallax isn't technically his base, but he can pretty much like just use his amp anytime he wants. And like he's had parallax for like a few years now, so pretty much he can not only amp himself with parallax. You've already agreed that my conceptual being parallax would scale above yours, so like I would just say it wouldn't really matter.
Yeah.
And plus, like you've already like granted that like base to base, I would be able to like one shot you, and like pretty much with like you agreeing that like parallax would like scale above other like concepts including yours, and like Sinestro can amp himself with that, I would still be able to one shot you regardless.
Hmm. Hmm. Uh. All right. I guess I'll accept this.
Okay, so you have anything else? Because like for now I don't really feel I need to bring up anything else.
Like I don't really have. You know what? Like I might as well try it. It wouldn't hurt anyone. Guess I'm just gonna argue that Larfleeze is just gonna fucking soul manipulate. I guess he'll just consume you and like add you to his core. He's gonna like he does
Okay, well,
he does this like to Bloom.
oh,
Like,
so then I'm just gonna say, since I've already proven that Parallax is now part of Sinestro's soul, and you've granted Parallax would scale above your dude, you just wouldn't be able to do it. Well, that's just what I'm gonna say to that. Pretty much, Parallax is part of Sinestro's soul, and like even if you manage to get Parallax like out of Sinestro, Parallax would just still like possess you regardless.
hmm. Hmm. All right. You know what? Fuck it. My battery's dying anyway. I'll just. All right. So, well,
Like, you wanna
I
like
guess
go to
we'll just go to
conclusions?
conclusions. I guess whatever.
Okay, I guess I'll start. I pretty much thought I won the debate because pretty much like from the start, yeah, it was like kind of close, but like after that, I kind of feel like I
Look like a
took Frogger. Shut the fuck up. Right? Okay. Anyway, so pretty much like what I was saying, because fuck you, Frogger. But anyway, what I was saying is that I pretty much thought I won because like I felt like you pretty much granted me AP and like pretty much like everything we argued over. You at the end of the day granted me pretty much like everything we argued in AP, and then for hacks you pretty much agreed that I'd be able to like counter your hacks. So pretty much I would just say like as soon as the battle starts, Sinestro would just one shot and win. At the very worst, he would have to use like Parallax to like possess Larfleeze, so pretty much that's my conclusion.
Um. All right. So, basically, to go over the debate, like, say like the first part in terms of like AP or what is close. I think I kind of like. I personally think I could have. I kind of took AP at least for a little bit there because of like the battle of like consistencies. Both had shown to be like kind of inconsistent, but and after that, it like I think you like after that like you kind of took AP. In terms of the parallax thing, like I did agree to this. I did like agree that parallax is like kind of above like other concepts, and the amp point, like you kind of like took that with a like weird outer versal amp, and I just kind of gave you the soul absorption. So I'll say, so I will like say that you did win, but I do think that this was I think this debate was still like fun at least.
Yeah,
At least I don't.
sure.
I do
Like-
think it was kind of close too, but I don't know. Like but I guess that's what the judges are here for.
So, Joe, just give your thoughts, please.
Alright, want me to go first?
Yep.
Because everyone else always makes me go first anyway. But jokes aside, alright, let me go look over my notes. So, the AP point, Alistair pretty much goes to the multi-plus, argued it pretty well. Obviously with the whole, Cyborg stating the ripping, well, tearing the fabric, the multiverse, but then you pretty much, Slick, just like, fuck it, we're going high outer, and you argued it pretty well. I was on board with that. Alistair does press you on like the ring point with like Sinestro like creating like Green Lantern rings of his own, and even stating like just trying to push you on the preference argument. But I do think you actually bounced back. I was very impressed with your rhetoric, like how you compared, like saying like, Sinestro prefers the yellow ring over the green, like saying the green's like the yellow lantern ring would be naturally above the green. So that was a really good argument there, good rhetoric. So I was definitely on board. I know Elle tried to like argue back with like the whole Lobo, not the Lobo, the
Atrocitus,
John Stewart, trying to say
okay.
like he whooped their asses, but then obviously you provided like the statement of like Thaal being like the best Green Lantern, and then of course like you provided like evidence why Atrocitus, whatever his name is, isn't like very consistent, kind of wobbly in terms of like AP. So I think you really did well, like pushing home the AP point. I was more convinced on your side of the AP point, but Al did try to push back, and I did like that he did pressure you a bit, but I think you pretty much just dominated in the AP point, so I gave you that. You agreed on speed. You guys are pretty much relative anyway. Speed doesn't matter. The Haxes, so you argue like Parallax would just possess Larfleeze, and then Al argues, you just absorb it. You'd say you argued like conceptual, and that's where like it was just a touch and go at that point to see if what Al has. Al argues that his absorption point was conceptual. Then you argued higher layers, so that pretty much beats his like point out of the park. So you took that with the whole obviously like the Superman concept being higher, and so on and so forth. And then moving on, I think the last win con was the soul absorption. Let me read my notes real quick. yeah, so I think like Alistair tried to argue like some like amps, like you just say like you'd be more amped, but like you pretty much shut that down. You just said that it pretty much wouldn't matter, and I do agree. Like because Al pretty much conceded to the point that you just be wood above him. You'd be above him in terms of AP and just higher layers into outer. And obviously, if we even try to like quantify like the amp, there'd still be a massive margin. So the amplification wouldn't really help, and you would just resist. Like you'd just be way above him. So like the soul manipulation point pretty much wouldn't be a factor. It still would be doesn't matter how much you slice it, the soul manip won't help. But yeah, I would say I do agree with like Slick more often than not. I think he took victory. Definitely like mid diff because like the AP point was really pressed, but like I think Slick really did well. I was very impressed with his rhetoric. Like the ring argument was very balancy, but that was probably like my favorite part of the debate was like just a raw rhetoric. So I have to give this to Slick mid diff.
Any other nibbles want to judge? Or give their thoughts on shit like that?
Vader said he would judge, but that Nick left.
I guess I'll
Frisk.
give my thoughts.
Please, Frisk not a judge. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, Kirai, but Frisk, where are you?
I'm right here.
Are you gonna judge? Because you did agree to judge.
I thought like someone else was judging at the moment. Okay.
Oh, well, I mean, Kirai, you can give your thoughts afterwards if you like as well.
No.
Okay, so for my judgment, it's
Well,
kinda
Kira can
similar
take
to-
my spot because I'm not able to judge, so he can go after Chris.
okay. Okay, so for my judgment at first, it was going pretty well. Like I think they were close at the beginning, and I actually applaud like Alistair for grandstanding some of the stuff from earlier and asking questions, along with like Slick being really adamant with his scaling and as the debate went on, Slick was kind of dominating in terms of AP. Alistair tried to help hold his own, but like as things keep going on, Slick keeps like dominating with encountering each of Alistair's points. To the point where as soon as he got AP and stuff, it was basically done for Alistair. Even he was countered in hacks as well. So while I wouldn't say this is a complete stomp, I would say Slick wins this with like mid diff.
Okay, so it's time for me to give my thoughts on this, or my judgment on this debate.
Good
Oh.
boy.
Yes, good boy. I think in this debate, Slick took this debate because really, I'm just gonna say this: as soon as Alistair gave up, or like he kind of what Forrest said, to where Slick had the higher AP from right there and then, it was pretty much and how much he actually improved. And also for Alistair's too, for his rhetoric as well, also improved. You both did good, but I'm gonna give this debate to Slick with mid diff. But I'm just gonna say this: it's like Green Lantern. I pretty much knew like Slick was gonna take this because he's a Green Lantern stand. So yeah, but like I do agree. Both of you guys did good. Both had amazing rhetoric, and GG to both of you.
Alright, well, anyone else?
I'd like to say something.